Hey, good morning, Tuesday morning, June 2nd. Excuse me. No, it's not the corona because I don't know if the corona really exists anymore. Well, I hope everybody had a great day yesterday. Weather was okay to me, anyways. Yeah, I got to do my Warren imitation in the morning, so. My tagline today is "Who's in charge of town hall?" I was listening to the 1 o'clock phone call on my way home from work, and that Dawn Alpenbright posts every day, and thank you, Dawn. It's great to know that at least somebody's recording it, because who the hell is going to be there at 1 o'clock? The majority of people cannot be there at 1 o'clock. But at least I got to listen to it, and I'm listening. Of course, Joshua Warren gets on there and does his little spiel with the COVID-19, and they talked about where they're going to have town meeting, and they started talking about they're going to. Actually, before that, they started talking about where they're going to have the fire chief came up and discussed about what he thought about having it, what venue would be at, because some people wanted it outside, some people wanted it inside. Everything they're doing is always about the COVID-19, and, I got to tell you, there's 93 people in Kingston. We've been dealing with this now for 3 months, whatever it is. There's 93 people in Kingston that have it. 50 of them are at Wingate. So there's 43 people out of over 13,000 people that got it. So, when you think of the odds, and, people are going to say, we prevented it because of masks, we did social distancing, we stayed at home. A lot of people are out there doing what they do. The kids were not at home. The kids were not at school. And to go through these precautions, in my own opinion, is overthought. Not well overthought, over the top on trying to be safe on these issues. I mean, they were talking about it when they decided they're going to have it at the intermediate school, which is fine. How they're going to put people 6 feet apart. I mean, of course, the norm for a town meeting is about between 100 and 140 people. So they shouldn't have a problem with that unless people start standing up and get to town meeting, which you really need to do. But they came out, they were talking about this, and, Sandy, then they started talking about, I'm jumping around a little bit here this morning because I'm reading something, thinking something, and talking. So, Carlton had discussed about what was going on at Town Hall. And, yesterday was the first day that a lot of employees came back, and they got different signage up, and I guess they must have cones. You got to walk on this side. But they mentioned how, you're only allowed one person on the stairs. So if you got, 3 people want to go up or down the stairs, you got to wait for one person at a time, and one person in the elevator. And Carlton mentioned that, a few people, I guess they actually listened to him, but a few people came out and said, that's, it's ridiculous that you have to have only one person on the stairs. And he mentioned that the people said it. And then later, he talked a little bit more, and then he mentioned, it came from the people I expected it to come from. This guy can't say anything without being condescending about somebody. Yeah, they voiced their opinion. But they're going to comply. Of course they're going to comply, because you'll fire their ass if they don't. So, and then one person in the elevator. Well, isn't that the whole idea of wearing a mask? if they're wearing a mask, why just one person? Not that the elevator get used that much. It's usually more for the seniors and everything else. I don't think too many town employees use the elevator. But, and I agree with the people. It's overkill. Well, I don't mind being accused of that. And I hate it when I'm accused of not doing enough. To me, you haven't done shit since you've been here, but that's beside the point. Now, he probably hasn't gotten to every department yet. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I know what it takes to, if you're in there at 8:30, why in 3.5 hours, especially on the first day, you can't get to everybody else. But, let that go. But then they went back to Joshua Warren, and they're going to go to the second agenda, which is, discussing about the venue for a town meeting. And when Joshua starts off, he asks Gloria, well, Gloria, you think we should open up the warrant? And I'm saying to myself, okay, Gloria is Calter's assistant. We have the so-called chairman of the board has to ask Calter's administrative assistant if we should open up the warrant or not. I'm like, wait a minute, who's in charge here? This is the leadership I'm talking about. Warren can't even decide. He's the one in charge. They know they're going to discuss taking some articles off the warrant. But he has to ask Gloria if they should open up the warrant or not. And then when they started discussing it, it was like everybody was asking Gloria questions while, I think Calter must just be the parrot off to the side saying, it seems like Gloria was the one who knew everything, was in charge. So I'm saying to myself, why the hell are we paying Calter $150,000 a year plus $600 a month for life insurance when all the questions went to Gloria? Maybe she should be the town administrator and get rid of the slugger who does nothing but attack people and make deals behind doors and purchase things without permission, So maybe they say, let's just make Gloria the town administrator. But then they start talking about the articles that they're going to take off. The one that got me, of course, is the capital planning budget. That they want to put the article through. All the items that they have on there. They want to put it through as one to vote on, just take one vote for all the items. I'm like, no. You need to break it down because obviously there's some things on it that capital planning committee voted not to they didn't even vote to recommend it. They didn't even have it on there. But Calter, being the crybaby he is, like he did the other day with Talman had to come up with why, why now it's the Board of Selectmen's revenue, not revenue, what am I talking about? Jesus Christ. Talking about it's the Selectmen's warrant, and they're the ones who can move it, and they're the ones who can decide. Yet, again, Calter wanted it on there, so now they're going to change it around after having 20, 30 years of the shit being the same way. It's run fine for all these years, and of course, again, Calter comes in and needs to be changed because he didn't get his way. So what they're going to, they want to keep it as fast as possible, keep town meeting through as fast as possible. So they're going to, they want to vote it all as one article, which is one article, but one item. And I'm not going to allow that to happen because there are things on there. Again, the library, $30-something thousand to supposedly clean the rugs and do a few other things, which is not a necessity at this time. And they're not even open. They just opened up, and it's curbside pickup or drop off, whatever you're doing. So here they are now. They want to put that in. They took off. They took off a few items. I think it was like 11, but it was all of Gloria's was the one who came up with what should be off, and then Elaine Fiore jumped in and named a few that she wanted to see, and they went back and forth on some things. And then Gloria had asked, well, we can, if you give us the authority, she was saying this to the Board of Selectmen who were there, if you give us the authority to give us basically free reign of what warrants should be on there, what warrants shouldn't be on there. And I'm like, again, who's in charge at Town Hall? Who is the person making the decisions? Calder likes to speak. And of course, they decided they're going to have one person read all the articles, read the motions for the articles, which actually wasn't a bad idea. Instead of waiting for somebody to come down, if it's the water department, you got to wait for dipshit Costa to come down. He's another pal of Calder who lies. This way here saves time. They get done with one, the person goes to the next one. So one person's going to read it, which I thought was a pretty good idea. But they come out and it's everything about, Gloria, and it Calder's like, Gloria did this, and Tom and Gloria, it's like, okay, who's in charge? Who's in charge? And of course, Calder didn't want to do it because he gets stage fright. Even his jokes suck. But you gotta think about, the way they think, the way they want things done. It's only I'm sure it's gonna be a shit show from town meeting. Fire Chief Douglas did mention too that there's gonna be people who are not gonna want to wear masks, and I am one of them, and I'm not gonna wear a mask, which is good. I think Mark did did a lot of work, great job. Obviously, as part of the emergency team, which I'm going to change the side note this a little bit, that I looked around the towns around us, and there was nobody from these other towns that had 2 selectmen and a town administrator on the emergency management team. A little side note to that. But, having it inside, which is, to me, it's fine. Outside is fine. Just let's get it done and let's do it right for the town meeting. So there was talk about moving it. I didn't understand the this 1/12th, I think they were calling it. I've never heard of that before, so, I don't know much about it. I don't know anything about it. So, but it was talking about maybe having a town meeting for just the most important articles, and then maybe have another one in August. Again, I don't know, but it seems like everything that we do has to be done with dramatics. When they talked about having the inside the town hall, Shannon McFarland comes up, well, we're here to save lives. Yeah, we're going to save lives. Hey, Sandy, how many people have died in Kingston from COVID-19? None. 51. They can't control it they can't confine it in a controlled environment. How are we supposed to control it in an open environment? You can't. And you're not saving lives because nobody in Kingston has died from it. There's 93 people, 50 in one place, 43 in the open out of over 13,000 residents, plus the people who work in town. There's a lot of people who work in Kingston. So, this thing with COVID-19, they found out, they admitted the numbers are way off, and even the deaths, because a lot of them it should be died because of COVID-19 or with COVID-19. And if you see the separation, a whole lot of people didn't die because of COVID-19. But we'll let that go because I don't want to go into the national thing. But, like I said, it's overkill. at Town Hall. One person on the stairways. It's and of course, there was no mention of the glass. This is the thing about with Calter's protectors. They will not mention. You probably won't hear about it again until town meeting. How Calter overstepped and bought glass when plexiglass would have been fine. And of course, they did it. He'll put the blame on Bradford Norman. Because Calter can't do no wrong. But they put it as a permanent fixture, which now we can't be reimbursed from the $90 million Plymouth County's in charge of, which we know we're going to get money because, hey, Plymouth County's in charge of it, and Tom's good buddy, Tom O'Brien, will get money for it. And I have no problem getting money. I don't like the way it's done. Well, because you're my friend, I'm going to give you money. It's total bullshit. So there's money that we're not going to get back. He went out and spent $17,000. It probably could have been half for all I know. But he spent $17,000 on glass and everything else without asking permission. Again, even as an emergency, he still has to go through capital planning and finance committee. But of course, we know, per Tom Calter, the capital planning, they have no idea what they're doing. They don't know what their priorities of the town are. Even though for the past 7.5 years I was on, prior to that, probably 30, 40, 50 years, who the hell knows? But that's why you meet with the department heads. And of course, we had one chairman. Well, if you had to only go with 2 items, what's the one with the most priority? So, the capital planning people are not stupid, and they ask the questions. So yes, they do know what they're talking about. They are volunteer people. They don't get paid a penny. Same thing with FinCom. Yet Calter says, well, we should have an agreement budget. It's not supposed to be that way. It's the selectmen's. Look at the budget when it's given to them. They make their recommendations. Then it goes to Finance Committee. The Finance Committee, not battle back and forth with Calter about, well, we're going to discuss this on town meeting floor because because he wanted something. He couldn't get something. So, I get frustrated sometimes because whenever I start talking about Calter, everything he's done has cost the town hundreds of thousands of dollars, lawsuits, and his attacks with no accountability. It's a wonder why people aren't, we're not protesting at the town hall. Except at nighttime, we wouldn't be burning or throwing rocks or anything else. But I'm just surprised how nobody has stepped up to say, hey, how is it this guy still has a job with the town of Kingston? With everything he's done that is, with the attacks he's done, with the loader. When they got the loader, I called them out on it right away. That was an emergency purchase. There was nothing wrong with the other one. They said it wasn't safe because of the brakes. I got the repair notice. They charged $500 to come out to say that the emergency brake light or something wasn't working. It was all bullshit just to get. It was just a political ploy by Calter to try to get in with the right people in town as he started as town administrator. It wasn't needed. They come out $30,000 repair, total bullshit. And if it wasn't bullshit, which I'm still saying it is, that if the machine needs $30,000 worth of repair, it was not maintained properly. Same thing with the backhoe that Paul Bazzer made an amendment on the floor to include it. After the Capital Planning Committee says, you know what, we can't afford it right now. And if I was I would say we don't need it. But it can't, the whole idea with capital planning is that they're given the amount of money that they can spend, and then they prioritize the list, And then once they get to the amount that they could spend, they make sure that it, if something like this, like the backhoe, again, the backhoe could have been put off for more years. He's been asking for it for a couple of years. I would go up there. The bushings, they didn't repair it. They didn't maintain it. This is why supposedly, again, it was $30,000 to repair the backhoe. Well, the backhoe was, even if we did put $30,000, it was better to spend $134,000 for a new one. But the one thing I found as being on capital planning, the highway department has to have everything new. They don't maintain their vehicles. They, it was like, I've seen trucks over there, parked over there, that have 90,000 miles. Oh, well, we need a new truck. I saw one year where they parked the truck off the side when we had all that heavy snow. They plowed snow on top of this truck. So, you got to look at the amount. When we need equipment, I have no problem saying to get it. But when you abuse it, you don't maintain it, that person needs to be held accountable. And, of course, he isn't. And that we'll talk about Basler right now. He's the one who had his guy come down and tell me I couldn't be at the transfer station with my recall shirt on. That was funny. That was very funny. So, but either way, we got to remember the recall. The recall's coming up June 29th, 27th. I go, looks a Saturday. And as you can see, you got the people out there. We've had the sample ballot out there. It's very simple. You got to remember that when you come to Elaine's name, it says recall yes, recall no. You black it in yes, and then you go right down to Dickie Arruda, and vote in for that. You blacken the spot next to him. Then when you go to Joshua Warren, the same thing. Yes for recall, then go down and vote for Kimberly Emberg. Simple, 4 little marks. The regular ballot, you got to decide. I mean, there's a lot of people here who is undecided. Unopposed. Again, trying to think of something as I'm speaking. But you got to go out and you got Andy Davis. For a guy who's involved in politics, the way he talks about people when they do nothing wrong. I talk about people when they do something wrong. So, but he's up for re-election. I think he's one of the people that need to get out of there too. So you got Bradford Randall and somebody else who's running. I believe he's up for election. So I'd say Bradford Randall and this other guy. You have Sean O'Brien. You got to remember, Sean O'Brien is a lawyer. He's a nice guy, lived in town, obviously, against Bill Marabito, who only wanted to shorten town meeting for his convenience. He runs all things Kingston, and, he shuts people off. He doesn't agree with what they say. There's no other group out there like Kingston Open Forum, because you say what you say. That's it. And if you say something to somebody that can cause some kind of blowback, it's up to the person. You own your words. Very simple. But with Bill Marabito, he has no experience at all. He had called to write the petition article when he wanted to get rid of a couple of things at town meeting. And if you look at it, he's very, he's not going to be open to people who don't agree to him. You got Janet Wallace up there. She's done a great job all these years. And as much as she may have or may not have liked what was being voted on, what was being discussed, she knows her job is to stay in the middle. And she can't think of what her own personal feelings are. And she did a great job. Marabito has proven that if he doesn't like what you have to say, he kicks your ass out of that group. He will block you. He will delete the posts. And I still have that private message he sent me from 2018 that he's being 22-year resident. He's only been to town meeting 4 times. And he only goes for a couple of things, and then he wants to get out of it, but he feels like people will say, well, what the hell, you're leaving now? And that's all his agenda is, to get town meeting through as fast as possible, and he will not be a good person to have somebody when, our rights to speak. And the fact, too, is that he's in charge. He would be in charge of the Finance Committee. See, there's a game to everything when it comes to Calter. Calter gets his friend in as town moderator, who happens to be in charge of the Finance Committee. Oh, okay. Now he gets rid of the people and the Finance Committee that Tom Calter tells him to. And these people do a ton of work for free. They don't get paid. They're serious. They're, and I guarantee you there'll be a few on there if he got in, be gone immediately. So then when Al Calter gets his people on FinCom, he's got full control, and that's what Tom Calter's all about, having full control any way he can get it. So these are the things, I've been involved as much as I have. I see a lot of things, I hear a lot of things, and I know a lot of things when it comes to crap like this, especially with Calter. So the things you need to remember, and please tell everybody you got to get out and vote. We need to get as many people as we can at town meeting. I would like to see everybody vote no down, and then see how they react to it. I would vote no on the budget. I would vote no on everything, just to see how they react. Because right now, if you listen to them talk, they all talk like come the end of June, they're all going to be there, and it's going to be things as norm. And the biggest thing I hate, is when that wording came out, the new norm, the new normal. As, of course, Tom Calter had to say about Town Hall. This is the new normal. We will never be back to. Bullshit. There's no reason why we can't go back and do. We're not going to be confined control about a virus that right now has not proven to be nowhere near as deadly as they said it would be. Contagious, yes. Like the flu, everything else. But it's deadly, no. And, the new norm, no, we're not changing. I can't see it, this whole country, this whole world changing because of a virus that was put out by China. And I hope the hell they go blow up China's government, not the people, because the people are slaves over there. Get rid of this communist government for doing what they did to the world. So, but I'm not going to get back into that again, because I want to stick with local stuff. But either way, remember, recall. Warren needs to go. Elaine Fiore needs to go. Sandy McFarland needs to go. And Tom Calter needs to get his ass fired. And I hope to hell that's what's going to happen. So, I don't know, Tom, you want to make bets on that like you did with me running against you in 2016? How you're going to kick my ass on the votes? You were going to wipe me away and I get over 40% of the votes? I'll make you a bet. So, well, I'm going to head to work. You guys have a great day. Let's see what kind of nonsense this crazy town of Kingston could come up during the day. I'll talk to you later.